Hey everybody, and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program RP-0. Today's the day. After uh, 10 years in flight, our Origami 4 Titan is slated to make its descent into Titan's atmosphere today. Um, this is a personal point of pride for me. Is this mission launched in 2018? I want to say about a billion episodes ago, and I know the episode count has slowed down significantly, and thus progress on the space program has also. But this is one of my uh, missions I'm more proud of, I should say, than a lot of other ones, considering how well it has gone amidst a lot of other things not going quite so well. But after, like I said, 10 years in flight and 2 years of waiting, it is finally time for this little origami glider to descend on into Titan's atmosphere and see how much science we can finally get for our big payoff for our big Titan mission and first aircraft to fly in the outer solar system. We did fly one of these at Venus, so it's not like the first one ever, but it's still a pretty landmark achievement. So I'm no pressure or anything, but we had to make sure that our parent satellites were in an appropriate orbit so that we could have steady comms, direct line of sight with Earth. We need those satellites to relay our signal back, obviously. So we're just making sure that both of them are in a pretty good place. So if we lose contact with one, that being our current Origami 4T mothership, or our alternate, which is the Tartarus Kronos mission mothership, which is in a much more polar orbit. That was, of course, the first landing that we did on Titan a little more than 2 years ago. I think it was flying that mission that kind of inspired building this one. So now that we have our alignment set up, we would queue up Flight Computer to just radio in roughly every 10 minutes or so for the next like 3 hours, which I thought was going to be a little overkill. Turns out no. No, not at all. Titan's atmosphere is broad, and when you get down to, I guess, sea level, we've got like 1.5 atmospheres of pressure. So it's dense, but gravity is pretty low. So this is the ideal atmosphere to try to fly a winged aircraft in. You don't even really need parachutes to get down here on Titan. Just enough surface area to catch the air and slow you down. So we have made our deorbit burn, and now we're just gonna coast into the atmosphere and try to rely on some of these radio winds. We'll move some fuel around, mostly for ballast purposes, but what limited use we'll see from our RCS that don't ullage the engines, we'll try to use to keep our nose pointed into the wind as we get through kind of this upper hectic stage of the atmosphere. The good news is we'll be treated to a lot of eye candy for this entire mission, which did run the live stream over by nearly an hour, but well worth it. That was our first kind of view. As we're coming here into daylight, we did take the extra time to make sure that this entire mission, at least the really atmospheric parts of it, would be conducted in daylight. Because, well, the last time we descended onto Titan, I believe it was nighttime. And when we flew an origami glider at Venus, it was nighttime. So, especially after 10 years of waiting, we're certainly not going to accidentally do this one at night. I'd like to see at least what we're flying into. But we should actually be coming up on our first set of radio ins. Unfortunately, everything radioed in from the upper atmosphere was a biome we had already covered, either through one of our many aerobraking passes, or that was already covered by the Tartarus Kronos mission in one of its aerobraking passes, or its actual descent, which is much more polar. We are not quite equatorial. I think we've probably got a 20 or 30 degree inclination. I guess I could look 154 degrees, so I guess we're counter rotating versus the planets spin. So that doesn't tell me a whole lot. I'm sure it tells people smarter than me a lot more than what I need to know. But our second little bit of radio in, or not radio in, yeah, radio in, achieved pretty much nothing. Because, again, upper atmosphere, we have already covered all of these. So, in a bit of wanting a little more information, we will bring up Mech Jeb. Basically, we want to bring up an atmospheric density reading, although it'll take me another couple of minutes to get around to it because, I mean, just the view is absolutely fantastic. You can't not really appreciate it. I highly encourage everyone to fly a mission to Titan just to look around. It doesn't even matter if you bring any sciencey equipment. Just to have a look. It's well worth it. So now that we're past yet another useless radio in, we'll go ahead and get our atmospheric readout custom window configured. It did take us a little while to figure out where they are, and in the meantime, our poor little origami glider would decide to just kind of go wherever it wanted to. So I had to make a quick check because we are having a listing to the right kind of problem to make sure all of our robotics parts are fully extended, that our wings are fully extended, and our forward canards are in their locked 90-degree position. And just as a backup measure, we would queue up atmospheric autopilot, and it does do a fantastic job of making poor aircraft designs fly much more stably, with much more stability, I guess would be the appropriate way of phrasing it. So we have that on tap for the inevitable eventuality that we actually have enough air to kick us around, but not enough to maintain stability. Although in many of our flight tests, both at Earth and at Venus, this thing proved to be an exceptionally stable aircraft. Once you get into some denser air, though, I mean, even a brick will be stable. But we've engaged atmospheric autopilot, and you can see the twitchy rudders just kind of doing their thing, but we are keeping our nose into the wind, and that's the part that matters. So looking pretty good, and treated yet again to another fantastic view of Titan as we make our descent before atmospheric autopilot just up and ruins it for us. Another quite useless radio in, and we start to discuss the merits of altering our course, maybe to bring us in a little further south, which would take us closer to the equator, where I am told on good authority that there might be a mountains biome that we could possibly tap into. So we'll make a quick burn to try to bring up some speed and raise our altitude just a little bit. These engines are only going to be useful down to about 25-30 kilometers or so, where the atmospheric pressure and density really just murders the ISP. So it is fuel best spent in the upper atmosphere before that atmospheric pressure kind of kills any of their effectiveness. So after some good discussions with chat on the issue and my frustration with having not yet hit a biome that we haven't already been through, of course, once we get down to just flying at our lower atmosphere, it should be a very rich untapped scientific resource for us. And of course, all this data while in motion should be exceptionally useful. And there's atmospheric autopilot ruining yet another extraordinarily cinematic moment, although it didn't stop any of us from really just appreciating the view. So once again, we turn our discussion towards starting to head maybe down south, which would require, making the turn, but the objective was to light the engines and get ourselves spun around. But well, I'll just go ahead and start getting in my own way just as quickly as I can. So for that, I will turn you over to Old Me live during the broadcast. Already 1 hour into the stream and still in upper atmosphere? Yeah. Oh no, I lit the engines when there wasn't fuel unlocked. Now they're forever going to assume that we don't have any fuel. And I can't F5, F9 while flying in the atmosphere. Or can I? Please tell me I can. I just basically killed all of our fuel. Is it quick saving? Saving. Oh, thank God. Alright, we have to F9 this because I can no longer fire my engines. Because like a dumbass, I hit the, yeah, nope, no propellants. Please don't crash, please don't crash. I'm gonna reload the craft. I'm amazed as hell I can do this while flying in the atmosphere. Yes. Come on. Thank you. Almost. KJR stabilizing load. Yes, alright, we have engine light ability. Let's kill this. Let's level it in, take a look at the map. If for no other reason to gauge how much of our course we have altered already and how much of a glide slope we have to maintain to get somewhere near what might represent equatorial, although I don't honestly think it's going to be a thing. I'm so fucking stupid. We're gonna get our heading 225. Yeah. I know. God damn it. I know. I know. Thank you. God damn it. I deserve it. Things I don't deserve to live down. Like ever. Okay. Titans Lowlands. We all know what I have to do, so let's just get it over with. Having obviously not learned my lesson the first time, we would F9, F5, F9 again. I'm glad that one got clipped also. And then go ahead and dive in and give ourselves some speed. Make sure that our fuel tanks are unlocked, and then start to go ahead and try to execute this maneuver that we've been plotting on doing for at least 25 minutes now, just to be clear. But we do get good engine light. It's just time to get the nose up. Come on, baby, pitch up. Nope. Up, 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 up. Oh, did we just... Yep. Guess what happened, everybody? Yeah. At least this time it was just because I was too stupid to keep enough fuel unlocked instead of any fuel unlocked. So we will try to centralize our tanks and make sure that we don't hit engine flame out again. But, well, nothing if not consistent. I promise you this is the last time. If it happens again, I'm just going to accept my fate and use thrusters. So after the last F5, F9 of the day, we would get our craft loaded back up, fire up our engines, and then proceed to adjust our heading south in hopes of being able to find some new and interesting biomes in which to fly over gleefully, as we struggle still in being able to find any useful science to radio in. But again, this is really kind of a waiting game to see when we are no longer high over Titan or in the upper atmosphere of Titan's blank biome, and instead just flying over. Now we are in ideal comms range spot, and we have a direct line of sight with 2 satellites, so another radio in from flying high over Titan's shores, which we've hit that one at least twice so far. So we're really looking for something that's not Midlands, Lowlands, because that's where I'm pretty sure our Tartarus Kronos mission landed in one of those two biomes. It's kind of hard to tell, even with map view and Mech Jeb landing something or other turned on to tell us the biome. It's real touchy. It kind of flickered back and forth between the two. So as long as we can land in something that's not Midlands or Lowlands, just to make sure, I think we'll be in pretty good shape. It would be nice to get a much more unique biome. So with our heading dialed in, angled south, we'd light the engines one more time. That burns well and over now. We're down to our last couple of grams of fuel, but the atmosphere is getting dense enough now to where we no longer really need the RCS for much of anything. Yeah, there's our trying to target stuff. So it was here that the determination was made that if we can find a biome that's not Midlands or Lowlands, that we were just going to go ahead and go for it, and probably make a dive into Titan's lower atmosphere to try to radio in some science, especially if we could find a nice confluence point where we could move between a few different biomes flawlessly or seamlessly, easily, I guess would be a better way of phrasing it. Then we're going to go ahead and just go for it, because we really could just glide for days and days and days here. You just stay aloft. I mean, our speed is down to about 204 meters per second, but our altitude still well over 100 kilometers. I think we're showing 103 kilometers actual currently, so we still have a long way to fall, and we can probably clear a whole lot of distance if we had more propulsion. Really, otherwise we would just start falling very, very, very slowly. So the need to kind of pick where we end up became more and more crucial. We were still over the Midlands. We've just transferred into the highlands. And while we do have the data from high on the highlands, we probably don't have it from flying low. Probably don't have much from flying low. So the decision was made to roll the craft over and pull a bit of an Immelman maneuver / dive to make sure that we could stay over Titan's highlands. So with this dive in, we started picking up a lot of speed, which I thought was going pretty well, actually. And now we can actually start to see breaks in the clouds and what we thought might have been lakes, or hopefully just any body of liquid, because that would be something very, very, very interesting to collect some science from. So we would start to pick up as much speed as I felt comfortable before we'd go ahead and try to pull ourselves on out of this dive and hopefully keep ourselves over the highlands biome long enough for this next radio in to take effect. But, well, I'll turn you over to old me. Oh man, I read about one, but this was like way back in the 0.24 days, and I certainly don't have it installed. Oh, no, 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 we are, no, Midlands, oh no! Antennas, no! Okay, we're back over the highlands, but we're flying now. We're just relying on the internal antenna from our probe core. How's our battery looking? Perfect. One of today's minor miracles that we still have comms through just the internal antennas on this Able core, but you know, I'm not going to tempt the remote tech gods if I don't have to. So our goal now is to just remain in Titan's highlands biome until our next radio in, which, well, I think you know what exactly is about to happen. Oh, Midlands, no, turn about face. Oh jeez. Come on. Be highlands quickly. Ah, 2 seconds, you're kidding me, right? God, fuck. Whatever, we're gonna get flying over the Midlands, which I guess is new and unique to us. So flight computer go away, biological sample. You know, we could radio that in. Now we'll junk it. All right, transmit 117 science. Time for pay dirt. Boom, got it. 156 for temperature scan over the Midlands. You know what? Actually, this did not turn out that bad. 14 grand and 14 science. What else are we uploading and radioing in? Okay, well, whoa, 624 science for Atmo analysis. Hell yes. That's going to take a good long while. A good long while. You're going to want to really dive when you get into the highlands. We can transmit two at a time, right? Because I don't want to let this... Yeah, we're back over the highlands. Bing. 14 grand, 14 science. The Geiger counter. Micrometeorite. $14,000, 14 science. Oof, I don't know what's going on over here, but it's throwing me off. Atmo pressure scan 150. Those lakes off in the distance are just artifacts. I think these are the shadows of clouds, but I'm not sure. I mean, we're going pretty slow. I don't know if we can actually make it all the way over here. Are you talking about these or these? You could assume shadows. Yeah, that's my assumption also. I don't know what our stall speed is going to be, but there's our first radio in from flying at Titan over the Midlands. It worked out pretty well. We got paid. We got paid quite a bit. But let's steer towards this one. That one looks closest, I think. With our first successful radio in under our belt, we would just go ahead and try to see if maybe we couldn't try to get some data while splashed down. Although I was very, very, very hesitant to try to land this thing in any body of liquid. KSB and procedural parts and physics colliders tend to get a little weird when you mesh them all together, but it's also in sped up footage with the clouds moving beneath us. It does look like we are moving backwards, which is something I was told by Chad a few times, but I guess I just need to see the footage sped up to realize exactly how backwards it does look like we are going. But I could definitely tell that we are closing in on what I thought might have been shadows of clouds, but I'm pretty convinced now are actually lakes. I guess our speed has reduced to the point now where it really does just look like we are in fact standing still at 37-ish kilometers altitude and less than 50 meters per second. We're really just not covering a whole lot of ground currently, but we are hanging out over a biome that we now do have a successful radio in from. But the other unexpected gold here would be that, of course, where there's lakes, there's shores, which would give us another unique biome to radio things in from. So both in the interest of picking up speed and making sure that we can stay over the Titan Shores biome, we're going to pull a little Illiman turn here and get ourselves a little bit about-faced. One, picking up speed, definitely a good thing. Two, staying over the Shores biome, absolutely 100% worth it. So we'll translate back over the highlands for a minute or two before bringing ourselves about, so that we can hopefully make it back to the shores before our next time pulse radio in command executes, and we can be real greedy about all this science that we're going to start scooping up left and right. So 2 minutes 33 seconds left to go, so we'll get ourselves leveled in, a little barrel roll for fun, and then hopefully cross back into the shores biome. before the signal runs out, although it does not really look like that's gonna be a thing. Oh, yep, it is. It's our altitude, 29 kilometers. Good enough. We got plenty of room. We just need more speed. 6 seconds to a radio in. No, Timmy, no. Alright. 78 science. Well, it's flying at Titan, so it's not going to be any different regardless of biome, so let's just go ahead and transmit that back. God, this is going to take forever. Telemetry analysis 117. It's going to give us like 11 science, but a pretty decent payout. Yeah, 11 science, 10 grand, 156, 15 science. Boom, there it is. Another 14 grand. I think that uses up both of our channels. This will probably be up on YouTube. I can't promise any earlier than Saturday of this coming week. And something didn't give me any payout. Of course not. Why would it? I think when you double up on things, it causes a remote tech error. Did I get that second radio in already? Nope, 3 minutes. But we're over the highlands, so... Alright, 156. Got paid for that one. We'll just coast here over the highlands for a bit. Yeah, we did have more than a few errors as far as the atmospheric analysis radioing in correctly. Something I'm looking into. But reading the chat log there, it seems that resending it should clear that up, hopefully. Remote tech, not the most reliable, but we'll call it data packet loss over such a great distance, and having lost our primary means of relaying comms back to the mothership, that would probably cause some issues with data integrity. So we'll get another radio in from flying over Titan's highlands, which will still pay us out pretty well, actually. So I think we've covered Midlands, Highlands, and Shores while flying at so far, so that's actually pretty dang good to tag 3 biomes in one glider slope flight while not in the upper atmosphere of Titan. So despite a bunch of delays and waiting things for things to radio in, we could absolutely appreciate finally breaking through Titan's very dense cloud cover layer. I mean, slowly but surely, but as we are doing so, we would cross into Titan's lowlands, which would give us our 4th biome of payout, which absolutely phenomenal. Although we're still trying to make sure that we land somewhere on a shores biome, and with this cloud cover, I'm not really sure how close to any of these lakes we actually are. So we will radio back what we can, and then just absolutely enjoy the payout before cresting through the very bottom of Titan's clouds layers to be greeted with an absolute cornucopia of liquid bodies on which to possibly land near, or hopefully in. I guess at this point my plan had become to land on the land close to one of these bodies of liquid as possible, and then maybe hopefully release the brakes and roll down the hill into the liquid, although that would be kind of a lofty goal, and thanks to some time warp and some suboptimal angle of attack, we would actually figure out our stall speed is probably about 12 meters per second or so at this altitude. So we are going to have to dive down and pick up a lot more speed. Although I think trying to land in this patch of dirt behind us didn't really occur to me. Very forward-thinking individual I am. So we're going to aim for this peninsula out in front of us, and well, it does kind of look like it would be a decent slope of a hill, and that kind of feeds into our goals of rolling gently into liquid ammonia, liquid methane. It certainly isn't actual water, not at these temperatures, I would assume. So we'll pick our speed up to just under 100 meters per second before starting to level off and getting ourselves aimed in for the thinner part of the peninsula, enjoying some absolutely stunning views as we make our approach in what I really hope is enough of a hill for us to roll down and get the spacecraft a little wet. I mean, at least we're picking up speed. But this looks kind of like a hill, so I'm hoping that if we touch down on the hill, maybe we can roll into the water or the methane gently, and hopefully we'll cross a shores biome in the process. Not like that. Come on, shores. God, should have paid attention to the biome instead of what it looked like on the map, but I think the visual of it just being in the water, liquid, in the liquid, is going to be good enough. 1.3 kilometers altitude. This is where we make our terminal descent, everyone. Let's do it. Yippee-ki-yay! I was going to do barrel roll, but it looks like a bad idea with fine controls on. Thanks, Wook. Aiming for lakes, yes. Insert danger zone. Again? More danger zone? Yeah, let's level this off a bit, although I think we've got the momentum to roll it, so let's just see if we got the speed. Yeah, but with 1.5 atmospheres of pressure, I don't think these RCS are going to do anything at all. Flying over Titan shores. Let's just bring it home. What song is it? Because I totally can't check right now. 400 meters. $350. Level it out and let's just hope it shores all the way to the lake. God, please be shores all the way to the lake. 200 meters. 130. 85. $40 meters. 25. Please remain shores. Yeah, airborne. Again. Brakes are on, and I can't turn them off. Go, baby, go. Just kiss it. Come on. Yeah, we're going downhill. This is the problem. Burp, burp. So much. This is a problem. It's very difficult to land here. Very difficult to land here. Yeah, should have put air brakes on it. We're not really losing that much speed every time we touch down. Although it does wiggle very uncomfortably. Had I known this... Boomp. Boomp. Oh. Bump. 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 I think we're actually on the ground now. 6.5 meters per second. We're stopped. Woo! Titan's Shores. Yes. A few minutes of celebration later as the 10-year saga of the Origami 4T does come to a very, very successful conclusion. We radioed in so much money. This was absolutely the best scenario I could have ever hoped it would be. We got tons of science. The flight was stable and successful, and we were able to just eventually nail a landing and get a solid radio in while planted firmly on the surface of Titan from a biome that we had not previously landed in. I just wish we were on more of a hill, because we don't have a real way of giving this thing a nudge. The engines will actually produce no thrust at this level of atmospheric pressure, so we're just kind of stuck here. But, you know, for everything else that this mission accomplished, I can't say I'm even slightly disappointed with this outcome. This turned out extraordinarily well, and it's with great pleasure and pride that I can call this chapter of the CCSA to a great close. So that's going to do it for this one, everyone. Thank you so much for hanging out. I really do appreciate it, and I will see all of you in the next one. So until then, see you later. How much math was done? Exactly 0.